I have to be honest with you all. This is like my third attempt to making this review. Not because the product is bad, not at all. The SmallHD Action 5 is really good and it's affordable. What's difficult is actually pinpointing who is this monitor actually for. This isn't SmallHD's first attempt to a budget monitor. We had the 501, the 502, as well as the Focus 5. In all respect, those are great monitors. I personally had mixed feelings because of the features versus the price, especially the nit brightness for most of those monitors are like sub 500, which was kind of pathetic. I digress. Those 5-inch monitors shared the same menu OS system with the Page OS with the larger 7-inch monitors. Also, I will be just talking about the features that matter to me in this video. I will list out all the features for the Action 5 in the description below so you can read, because I'm trying to get to something a little bit more core, I guess, rather than just reading spec sheets, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm very excited for the Action 5. It actually checks a lot of the boxes that I would like to have in a budget monitor, as well as it fits in my workflow with the current projects I'm filming and shooting and creating. Most recently, I was filming a documentary in Israel, and this was a perfect fit for the gear kit that I took out with me. So this will be a real-world conversation, review, however you want to put it, about the Action 5, and is it actually worth it? Simplicity would be exactly how I would describe the Action 5. From the new design to its new features and the new introduction of a slightly familiar but almost wanting more menu set. Gone are the days of the multiple page options that almost feel like you have unlimited customization. And hello to a unmovable 4-option menu set: frame, focus, exposure, and look. Now, when I'm looking at the two camps for those who might purchase this change might rub some people the wrong way, especially if you're coming from, like I mentioned before, the 501, 502, the Focus 5, those SmallHD monitors. This menu set is vastly different. I actually don't mind this change in this particular model just because it is a budget monitor. Sure, you have other budget monitors who tote so many different types of features, or jam-packed, it has a 4K screen, all of that, but you have to remember this is a 5-inch monitor. There isn't a lot of screen real estate at all starting out. So to simplify it and streamline it to give you 4 tools that you most likely will use most of the time that won't take up most of the screen, like a waveform monitor, though I wish you had the option to choose between it, it just kind of just makes sense because you want to try to save as much screen as possible on this 5.5-inch monitor. That's just my opinion. But looking at how everyone else might see it, they might see this as a con, and it could be a con. If you're using a lot of those tools, this might be the monitor for you. If you need a lot of customization, a lot of different exposure tools, waveform monitor, vector scale, all those things, this is not the monitor for that. So what's been a huge improvement over its predecessors is the fact that this has 2000 nits. That is a very much welcome feature to be added to this monitor. High bright monitors in small packages are always a great feature to have, mainly because it becomes more versatile. You can use this out in bright sunny daylight like this, or put it back in the studio. I'm really close now. Or put it back in the studio and do your normal things. Now you can control that with a slider in the menu itself, and it goes from 0 to 100. And it has 3 fan settings, but also as you're sliding the 0 to 100 brightness, the backlit that is, it has different preset modes for the fan to turn on, but you can adjust that yourself. The screen itself is only 1080p, but some people might see that as a downside. I think it's fine. SmallHD screens have always been really detailed and sharp, so whether it be a 4K screen or a 1080p screen, at this size, at 5.5, you really can't tell the difference, in my opinion, and I really can't tell the difference. So it being a 1080 panel is completely fine. It's actually funny that I'm actually listing this as a feature, but it does have HDMI in and out. I'm looking at you, Shinobi. Now I can daisy chain this monitor to any other monitor if I needed to, or daisy chain it to a wireless system to send out a feed if I needed to as well. Battery is a dual purpose, not a dual slot, but dual purpose. It has a Sony NPF slot and as well as a Canon E6 or LP or whatever slot. You can use both ways, which is nice to see. It has DC in and out as well to power off a bus. And oddly enough, a headphone jack. Somebody, please help me understand, why is there a headphone jack to monitor audio through a monitor? That just doesn't make sense to me. I've never seen the use case for it. Somebody prove me wrong, or it just really just doesn't make sense. Now, quickly going back to the 2000 nit brightness, the one downside and concern I've always had with anything that bright is what happens if it gets really hot. Now, I was in Israel. It was piping hot for most of the time, and it did get extremely hot to the touch, where it got me worried to say, okay, I'm gonna either get some sort of burned image into the screen, or the screen's gonna just fry itself or something. I did expect something to go wrong, and I'm happy to report that nothing did go wrong. It stayed hot, it cooled down, the fan kicked in, of course, trying to do its best to keep it cool. But for the most part, it didn't do any damage. The screen itself isn't damaged, which is great to know. I would have been kind of worried if that happened. But again, just something to be wary of. It does get really hot, so just be careful with that. Now, the monitor did shut off on me, but not because of the screen or it being overheated. It was because of the battery. And funny enough, this monitor does not have a battery indicator. You can't tell whether or not your battery is going to be dead at all. And it was a head scratcher. So of course I've been able to give my feedback to SmallHD. They've been really great to listen to, implement some of the changes from all the creators they sent this monitor out to. This is one feature that still hasn't made it into it yet, and I think it's super important, because if you're using this monitor as the only viewing monitor when you're filming and it dies because you don't know if your battery's about to die, that is a crucial mistake, not on you, but on SmallHD for not putting that feature in there. And I think that's a critical feature to have. It's a small thing. Let me know how much battery is on the MPF or whatever battery I'm using for this monitor, because if I don't, something like that can happen, and that's not very, very reassuring coming from SmallHD of any brand, you know. So please put that in there. It needs to be in there. And I do have to say, everything I've so far mentioned, the pros and cons, I have been giving a lot of feedback to SmallHD, and they have been listening. And like I just said too, I hope some of these features that we have been listing do make it into an update, because it just makes that monitor a lot better, and it makes the experience for those who are using it a lot better too. So that's really all that matters, and it seems like SmallHD does care about that. So that's good to know, right? Right? And so for comparison's sake, if you want to see this against other monitors, I did a small test. I call this rig the Medusa. It has the Ninja V, the SmallHD 702 Bright, and it was going against the monitor of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro, because that is a 1500 nit screen. So I did a small test, and I'll just kind of let it roll from here, and then we'll get back to finishing up this review. Alright, so let's just answer the question, is this worth it? If you're someone like me, this monitor does check a lot of boxes for a monitor that's sub $400, right? Or sub $300, whatever the price is. This means that I have a monitor that has range in terms of flexibility. I can use it outdoors, I can use it indoors. I have some simple basic tools that I can apply to whatever I'm using for exposure, for looks. Rarely do I use the built-in LUTs on that. I use it through the camera itself. And I can just compose my image with a lightweight monitor that could be on a rig, that could be on a gimbal. It's pretty versatile. Those things matter to me, and so yes, I would look at this monitor as something I would pick up. Obviously, I'm using it now because I actually like using it. How does it compare to the other monitors out there that might have more features? Or the previous older monitors that are the 502, 501, the Focus, that had the endless customization of pages. If all of those things matter to you, more features in a small body, then this might not be the monitor for you, and that's totally cool. So just kind of weigh those things. If you're in the market, if you're trying to make the decision, do you need to buy the whole new shiny thing? If it doesn't fit your needs, don't get it. But again, someone like me, this is kind of a welcome change. I've been wanting a 5-inch monitor from SmallHD that's usable in all facets of my workflow, and this monitor checks that box. All right, y'all, so this wraps it up for this video. I hope you can take this and apply it to whatever you need in terms of what to buy next if you are in the market. But until then, stick around. There will be more content coming, mainly about storytelling, but I have a few videos about rig building, documentary, all that stuff. So stick around for that. I would greatly appreciate if you like and subscribe. I am trying to grow this channel as we are doing for all of our channels. And if you have suggestions of how you would like to see gear reviews or filmmaking in general, don't hesitate to critique me, to help me improve, because I want to improve. I've been doing this for a while, but everything's changing. YouTube is always changing. But let me stop. I'm going to be going ranting. I'm hungry. Yeah. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out. I'm going to eat some chicken. Oh.